So let us start with TCA cycle now. TCA cycle is also known as citric acid cycle because the first metabolite which is synthesized in this pathway is citric acid. It was discovered by scientist Krebs and hence it is known as Krebs cycle. It is also known as tricarboxylic acid cycle because citric acid contains three carboxylate groups. Now, in bacteria, Krebs cycle is shown by aerobic heterotrophs, chemoheterotrophic bacteria, and archaea. Cyanobacteria do not show completely functional TCA, but TCA cycle is incomplete in cyanobacteria because cyanobacteria are photosynthetic, so they will carry out few reactions of TCA cycle just to synthesize some precursors which are required for biosynthesis. Anaerobic heterotrophs like Clostridium, it also shows degenerate or incomplete TCA cycle because purpose of TCA cycle is oxidation, complete oxidation. Clostridium we have seen carries out fermentation, so it will not completely oxidize its substrate to CO2. In case of anaerobes such as D-sulfur-vibrio vulgaris, only biosynthetic role will be played by TCA cycle. So functions, but very little function is there, synthesizes precursors. Anaerobic photosynthetic bacteria like green sulfur bacteria, for example, chlorobium, it uses modification of TCA cycle. Now this particular bacterium fixes CO2, it is autotroph. So it uses TCA cycle in the opposite direction for fixing CO2 and it is called as reverse TCA cycle. So many of the steps of this pathway are reversible. So it will reverse these steps and use reverse TCA for assimilation of CO2 and synthesize glucose. So it is known as reductive TCA and not oxidative TCA. Aerobic chemoautotrophs like nitrifying bacteria, for example Nitrospira, it also uses TCA cycle for CO2 assimilation. Now, in TCA cycle, we have seen that acetyl coenzyme A, which is produced by action of pyruvate dehydrogenase. Now, this reacts with oxaloacetate. You can see the structures here. Oxaloacetate is a 4-carbon compound. So 4-carbon compound reacting with a 2-carbon compound. Acetyl coenzyme A is a thiol ester. It is a high energy compound. So this bond is hydrolyzed and this results into formation of a 6-carbon compound here. So 4 carbons of oxaloacetate and 2 carbons of acetyl coenzyme A. This is the first metabolite of this particular pathway, citrate. Citrate synthase is responsible for this reaction. The next two steps are rearrangement reactions wherein the citrate is converted to cis-aconitic acid and isocitrate. So isocitrate has same molecular formula but different structural formula as if you compare it with citric acid and hence the name isocitric acid. These two reactions are catalyzed by enzyme aconitase. Isocitric acid is then acted upon by isocitrate dehydrogenase. Now, this particular dehydrogenase is responsible for removal of CO2. So, it is a 6-carbon compound. Here, isocitric acid, it is converted to a 5-carbon compound as CO2 is getting removed here. Alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase, it acts I will like to mention here that alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase is a multi-enzyme complex like pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, has exactly similar arrangement. Enzyme is different, it is alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase, but the other two enzymes are same and they assemble in the same manner. It also requires 6 different cofactors and it converts alpha ketoglutaric acid to succinyl coenzyme A. There the product is acetyl coenzyme A in case of pyruvic acid. Here alpha ketoglutaric acid is a 5 carbon compound. A CO2 is removed, coenzyme A is attached to it to give you a 4 carbon derivative succinyl coenzyme A. So in this step also CO2 is removed. So these two steps are characterized by oxidation of the carbon which entered as acetyl coenzyme A. Two carbons entered as acetyl coenzyme A. They are now converted. Same carbons are not converted, but it results into addition of two carbons as acetyl coenzyme A and removal of two carbons as carbon dioxide. So you can say that two carbons are added and two carbons are oxidized in these two steps. So this is oxidative decarboxylation. Now this step also generates NADH plus H plus when isocitrate is converted to alpha ketoglutaric acid. Alpha ketoglutaric acid when acted upon by alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase also generates NADH plus H plus. In the next step, 4 carbon compound succinyl CoA is acted upon by succinyl thiokinase, or the enzyme is also known as succinyl CoA synthetase. It results into removal of coenzyme A high energy thiol ester is broken down, and the energy release is used to synthesize GTP from, so GTP is synthesized from GDP and PI. This results into production of succinate, which is a 4 carbon derivative hereafter. So after two CO2s are produced, it again gets converted to a 4 carbon compound. We started with 4 carbon compound oxaloacetate. Two carbons were added as acetyl coenzyme A, two released as CO2. So we get a 4 carbon derivative back here. So this phase is the regeneration phase of TCA cycle, where oxaloacetate is being regenerated.
This phase of TCA is known as the decarboxylation
phase, where CO2 is being produced. So carbon is being converted to CO2. So succinate, which is a 4 carbon derivative, is acted upon by succinate dehydrogenase. FAD is converted to FADH2, and fumarate is produced as the end product. Fumarate acts as substrate for fumarase. Water molecule is added here and malate is produced. Malate, this is the last step of regeneration of oxaloacetate, involves regeneration of oxaloacetate. Malate dehydrogenase again uses NAD and NADH plus H plus is produced. So in this particular cycle, we have seen how different metabolites are produced, the details of the reactions we will see in the next lecture. So we can see here two molecules, two carbons enter here as a molecule of acetyl coenzyme A. One round of TCA cycle converts them to CO2. One full round results into production of three molecules of NADH plus H plus. Reductant is generated. One molecule of FADH2, which is a prosthetic group of this particular enzyme succinate dehydrogenase, and one GTP is produced by substrate level phosphorylation in this particular pathway. So this is the overview of TCA cycle. The acetyl CoA which is produced after pyruvate dehydrogenase reaction, it reacts with oxaloacetic acid, and citrate synthase enzyme catalyzes this first reaction. Okay, so let us go ahead. So we have seen pyruvate dehydrogenase is responsible for the reaction pyruvic acid plus coenzyme A giving you acetyl coenzyme A. This is the structure of acetyl coenzyme A. This is acetyl group, and this is so coenzyme A structure I did not show you in the previous lecture. It has a very complicated structure. Although you are expected to know the pathways with structure, you are not expected to write these details. Just for information, I am showing this. You can just write coenzyme A here instead of drawing all these details of structure. That is fine. So citrate synthase, which is the first reaction, catalyzes reaction between oxaloacetate, which is a 4-carbon compound, and acetyl coenzyme A. Now pay attention to the reaction, what is happening here. Now citrate synthase, it catalyzes addition of the acetyl group to this carbon here. Okay, this oxygen has a double bond. So this double bond is converted to single bond and one valency is freed. This will then interact with this carbon here and this CH3 is converted to CH2. So it will be converted to CH2.
In fact, acetyl coenzyme A, which is in keto form here, gets converted to its enol form. So this will become COH and this will become CH2. The reaction then proceeds by addition of this CH2 here and an enzyme bound intermediate citryl CoA is formed.
This is a high energy compound. It is called as thiol ester. You will learn about details of high energy compounds in the next year, but you have already learned about ATP. So you know that ATP is a high energy compound and hydrolysis of ATP can allow different reactions in cell. These are known as coupled reactions. So acetyl coenzyme A also is a high energy compound like ATP.
Hydrolysis of citryl CoA, which is enzyme bound intermediate formed due to interaction between high energy compound acetyl CoA and oxaloacetate, is responsible for release of high amount of energy which drives the reaction forward.
A water molecule, it is not shown here, a water molecule is used up in this reaction. So you can say that CH3 C double bond O, now it is shown as ionized CO minus group here, but this receives OH. Coenzyme A SH is generated, so it receives H from water molecule. This receives OH, which is shown as ionized form here. Thus, a 6-carbon compound citrate is synthesized. Citrate being the first molecule of this pathway. This pathway is known as citric acid cycle. It is also known as TCA, tricarboxylic acid cycle. You can see the reason here. There are 3 carboxylate groups present in this molecule and hence the name TCA cycle. Let us see the next reaction. So in the next reaction, citrate synthase, after citrate synthase, citrate is synthesized. So the citrate is now acted upon by enzyme which is known as aconitase. Aconitase catalyzes the next 2 steps. So the product which is shown here in bracket, as I mentioned yesterday, the cis aconitate is synthesized as enzyme bound intermediate here. Here in 2 steps. First, the citrate is dehydrated, remole of water molecule here, and in the next step, the intermediate that is synthesized, cis aconitate, is hydrated. Now let us see how the reaction is taking place, how dehydration is taking place. Now you have to focus on this bond here. So this is the bond. This carbon, it loses OH. And this carbon here, which is CH2CO minus, this loses H. Now this results into freeing one valency each on both these carbons, and a double bond is synthesized. So water molecule is being removed and a double bond is formed between these two carbons. So this is the structure of cis aconitate. In the step 2, the enzyme bound intermediate cis aconitate under the action of same enzyme, because I have already told you this is enzyme bound intermediates. So two consecutive steps are being catalyzed by this particular enzyme. It is just a rearrangement of atoms so as to convert citrate to isocitrate. So cis aconitate is now going to accept water molecule. Now when water is added across the double bond, previously in citric acid this carbon was having OH and this carbon was having H attached to it. Now water molecule is going to be added, but this carbon will receive H, you can see here, and the terminal carbon is going to receive OH. So citrate is now converted to isocitrate. If you compare the structure of citric acid and isocitric acid, citric acid has OH here, H here. Isocitrate has just different positions. So here H is attached, here OH is attached. Same molecular formula, different structural formula, and hence the name isocitrate. It is isomer of citric acid. So once isocitrate is formed, now isocitrate dehydrogenase enzyme catalyzes what is known as oxidative decarboxylation. In this particular reaction, oxidative decarboxylation takes place in two steps with enzyme bound intermediate being formed. First step is oxidation, removal of hydrogen and hence oxidation. Second step is decarboxylation. So in the first step, NAD acts as acceptor for the hydrogen which is being removed from the substrate. Now citric acid is converted to isocitric acid to aid this dehydrogenation step. So hydrogen is being removed from the same carbon, you can see here, and it results into production of C double bond O here. A ketonic group is produced here because hydrogen is being removed from the same carbon. So in this step, NAD acts as acceptor for the hydrogen and it is converted to NADH plus H plus. The oxalosuccinate thus formed, it remains bound at the active site of the enzyme. That is the catalytic site where catalysis takes place. It remains bound. In the next step, decarboxylation takes place. So I have highlighted this in red. You can see this carboxylate group will get removed as CO2. Now previously to this carbon in citrate OH was attached. So it will not happen if OH is attached here and hence rearrangement, which aids dehydrogenation as well as decarboxylation. So CO2 is being removed here as the carboxylate group is removed as CO2 and alpha ketoglutaric acid is produced as a product.
The alpha ketoglutarate that is synthesized is acted upon by alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase complex. It is a multi-enzyme complex like pyruvate dehydrogenase complex with 3 different enzymes E1, E2 and E3 and 6 cofactors including lipoic acid, TPP, FAD, NAD, coenzyme A and Mg plus 2. Although Mg plus 2 is not written here on the slide. The reaction takes place in 5 steps. In these reactions, as with the pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, the product of one reaction acts as substrate of the next reaction. So there will be intermediate exchange of products within the enzymes of this multi-enzyme complex. The first enzyme is alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase and it acts on alpha ketoglutaric acid. The net reaction which is catalyzed by the particular multi-enzyme complex alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase is alpha-ketogluteric acid in presence of coenzyme A giving succinyl coenzyme A and CO2. During this reaction, NAD plus is converted to NADH plus H plus. Although shown here as a single reaction, the reaction takes place in 5 different steps as mentioned.
Now, in alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase reaction, alpha ketogluteric acid is, again this is oxidative decarboxylation like pyruvate dehydrogenase reaction, and in 5 different steps alpha ketogluteric acid is converted to succinyl coenzyme A plus CO2. So coenzyme A is used as a cofactor. It gets attached to the alpha ketogluteric acid to form succinyl CoA. This terminal carboxylate group is lost. You can see here, this was a 5 carbon compound. This 5 carbon compound gets converted to a 4 carbon compound, a 4 carbon derivative succinyl coenzyme A. Now succinyl coenzyme A, once it is formed, this is also a thiol ester. You can see here coenzyme A is attached, so this is also a thiol ester. The reactions take place in the same manner in 5 different steps. So TPP used as carrier for the first step, then CO2 is removed, coenzyme A attaches to form succinyl coenzyme A, followed by synthesis of FADH2, regeneration of lipoate in the oxidized form. Okay, and in the last step, FAD transfers hydrogen onto NAD so as to form NADH plus H plus. This results into, so net reaction is alpha ketogluteric acid getting converted to succinyl coenzyme A plus CO2. Once succinyl CoA is formed, the next enzyme is identified by 2 different names. The name which I have mentioned here is succinyl CoA synthetase. In opposite direction, it can synthesize succinyl CoA and hence it is called as succinyl CoA synthetase. It is also known as succinyl CoA thiokinase enzyme. Why it is called as a kinase? This particular enzyme acts on succinyl coenzyme A. Like acetyl coenzyme A, succinyl coenzyme A is also a high energy compound having a thiol ester here. So succinyl coenzyme A, so a thiol ester here, succinyl coenzyme A will be cleaved. This results into cleavage of this bond here, and in this particular reaction, when coenzyme A is being released as coenzyme ASH, a water molecule is used here. So this receives H and this receives OH. So it is converted to C double bond O CO OH. CO group is shown as ionized group here. Okay, so it is bit difficult for you to imagine this, but remember this is OH which is ionized and it is shown as O minus. So this carbon receives OH and coenzyme A will receive H, so it is released as free coenzyme A. The energy which is released due to hydrolysis of thiol ester here is used to synthesize a GTP by substrate level phosphorylation. So substrate level phosphorylation is a reaction synthesizing nucleotide triphosphates by phosphoryl transfer. We have seen 2 such substrate level reactions, substrate level phosphorylation reactions in glycolytic pathway, where a phosphorylated substrate donated phosphoryl group. In this case, the phosphoryl group is coming from the inorganic phosphate, but the energy required for phosphorylation is provided by hydrolysis of a high energy compound, which is a thiol ester in this case. So it is not directly transferring the phosphate group onto GDP, but this also is a substrate level phosphorylation reaction. Example of substrate level phosphorylation. So GTP is synthesized and you get a 4 carbon derivative succinate. In the next step, succinate dehydrogenase. Now this particular enzyme is different as compared to the alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase and isocitrate dehydrogenases which we have seen till now. Previous two dehydrogenase enzymes use NAD as cofactor. Succinate dehydrogenase is a membrane protein. It is attached to the inner side of the membrane and it is partially embedded into the membrane, cytoplasmic membrane of bacteria. It is not free in cytoplasm. Please remember this. This particular succinate dehydrogenase enzyme has FAD as prosthetic group. So it is a coenzyme which is tightly bound with the enzyme, prosthetic group. So it has FAD as prosthetic group and succinate now transfers two hydrogens. So these two CH2s you can see here, each carbon donates one hydrogen and a double bond is introduced between two carbons. So this is a 4 carbon compound, fumarate, that is being synthesized here. So FAD is converted to FADH2 because it accepts hydrogens from succinate. Now succinate we will see later on binds due to presence of these two carboxylic acid groups. The particular enzyme at its active site, there are two components to active site. The binding site where the substrate binds and the catalytic site where actual catalysis takes place. The conversion reaction, dehydrogenation reaction is taking place. So in this particular example, carboxylate interacts with the amino acids present in the enzyme which are positively charged because carboxylate is negatively charged, and this is how the carboxylate groups hold the succinate, bringing these two carbons in front of catalytic site which has FAD bound there. So because these two carbons come directly in front of FAD at the catalytic site, hydrogens can be easily transferred onto FAD so as to synthesize FADH2. So this is how the reaction takes place. The next reaction is fumarase. Now, fumarase, the name is misnomer. When you hear the name, you feel that it is a hydrolytic enzyme. But fumarase is not a hydrolytic enzyme. Instead, it brings about a reaction which hydrates the substrate. Addition of water molecule is taking place here. So it should be known as fumarate hydratase, hydrates fumaric acid. So a water molecule is now added across this double bond. Now when water molecule is being added, this carbon receives OH and this carbon receives H. So fumarate, which is a 4 carbon compound, is converted to malate. This is the structure of malate. Now we come to the last step of the pathway, malate dehydrogenase. After this step, regeneration of oxaloacetate will be there. So malate is acted upon by malate dehydrogenase. So in this case, now why, if you will go back and see why OH is being added here, and see if you look at the structure of fumarate, it is a trans configuration which is shown here, carboxylate groups on opposite sides, but they are similar, isn't it? This also has a CH, H and OH carboxylate group attached. This carbon also has H and carboxylate group attached. But the carbon which receives OH is the target for the action of next enzyme, that is malate dehydrogenase. If you look here, malate has H and OH attached to this carbon. The dehydrogenase removes hydrogen from the same carbon. Hydrogen from here which is attached to this carbon and from the OH group attached to the same carbon. Malate dehydrogenase uses NAD like the isocitrate dehydrogenase and alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase, and NAD is the coenzyme which accepts hydrogen. A double bond will be introduced here. This results into regeneration of oxaloacetate. Now with this, I have finished with the description of the pathway. So what is the net reaction? Acetyl coenzyme A plus 3 NAD plus. So net reaction, before we see the net reaction, let me go back to the first slide. Yes. So are you able to see the overview of TCA cycle? Yes, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let
Yes,
us
ma'am.
see, before we see the net reaction, let us see what is taking place here. So in the reactions, so there are 8 reactions. Reaction number 1, 2, 3 and 4. These reactions involve oxidation, as I mentioned yesterday, removal of carbon dioxide. Okay, so carbon that was added as acetyl coenzyme A is being removed as CO2 in these 2 steps. Further reactions from reaction 5 to 8, it is the regenerative phase. See here we have a 6 carbon compound synthesized. 6 carbon compound is converted to a 5 carbon compound by action of isocitrate dehydrogenase, and then it is converted to a 4 carbon compound. Now regeneration involves synthesis of this conversion of this 4 carbon compound into oxaloacetate. So oxidation continues in this phase also, because you have hydrogens being removed here, but decarboxylation, that is complete oxidation of the carbon that was added, takes place in the first phase, and in the second regenerative phase, regeneration reactions take place to produce oxaloacetate in order to continue the cycle. It is a cycle. So unless and until oxaloacetate is regenerated back, next round of cycle cannot take place. So in one round of cycle, let us now see what is happening in one round. 2 carbons being converted to CO2, 3 NADH plus H plus are being produced, 1 FADH2 is being produced, and 1 GTP is produced by substrate level phosphorylation. Okay, I forgot to show coenzyme ASH here. It is being liberated here. So coenzyme A is liberated here. It is used up here. Okay, so as to synthesize succinyl coenzyme A, and in the next step it is liberated again. And that is why in the net reaction we are not going to take into account this particular coenzyme A molecule at all. Acetyl coenzyme A, one molecule of acetyl coenzyme A, 3 NAD, a GDP, inorganic phosphate, and FAD are the reactants. Acetyl coenzyme is converted to 2CO2, we have seen just now. 3 NAD plus being converted to 3 NADH plus H plus. GDP plus PI, it reacts to form GTP. We have seen the substrate level phosphorylation reaction. And FAD, which is present as a prosthetic group in succinate dehydrogenase, is converted to FADH2. Now we are going to take overview of whatever is taking place due to TCA cycle. TCA cycle is a catabolic pathway. So in today's lecture, we have seen how TCA cycle functions as catabolic pathway. What is the meaning of catabolism? Yes, you have learnt about catabolism. So what should take place in catabolic reactions?
Breakdown of molecules.
Yes, breakdown of molecules. What else takes place in catabolic reactions? Yes, can anyone add? Yes, oxidation. Gloria, very good. Oxidation. So how is oxidation taking place here? Can you explain? Look at the equation and can you tell me why we are calling this as oxidation? NAD is oxidized to NADH. Very good, Gloria. So removal of hydrogen and that is why oxidation. Acetyl coenzyme is being converted to CO2. So carbon is accepting oxygen. So that is also one of the reason why it is called as oxidation. What is the feature of catabolic reaction? Release of energy. Did you forget? So the energy released is used here directly for substrate level phosphorylation to synthesize GTP. In aerobic organisms, TCA cycle is followed by oxidative phosphorylation. So the electrons which are now accepted by NAD, they are donated to various electron carriers and finally to oxygen. Because we are talking about aerobic organisms, so oxygen acts as final electron acceptor. So the steps will be glycolysis followed by conversion of pyruvate to acetyl coenzyme A by pyruvate dehydrogenase reaction, entry of acetyl coenzyme A into TCA cycle. Now please remember here, this equation tells you about reaction of one round. But two acetyl coenzyme A are produced as a result of glucose metabolism. So the TCA cycle will take place twice per glucose molecule being degraded. So 2-acetyl-CoA will be degraded to produce 4CO2. 6-NAD will react to give 6-NADH plus H plus. 2-GDP will give 2-GTP and 2-FAD will give 2-FADH2. 2-acetyl-CoA are generated. Now whatever NADH plus H plus and FADH2 is generated here will feed the electrons to the electron transport chain and finally they will be transferred to oxygen. Hydrogen will be taken up from the cytoplasm and water molecule will be synthesized in oxidative phosphorylation, and this results into creation of H plus gradient, more concentration of H plus outside the cytoplasmic membrane, less inside, because transfer of electrons to oxygen in electron transport chain results into formation of a proton gradient. In oxidative phosphorylation, this proton gradient, energy trapped in this proton gradient is used to synthesize ATP. Now let us see the summary. So in this pathway, in glycolysis, which is the first reaction by substrate level phosphorylation, per glucose molecule, 2 ATPs are produced. We have seen in glycolytic pathway. 2 NADH plus H plus are produced when 1 NADH plus H plus donates 2 electrons to electron transport chain. 10 protons are pumped out. When 10 protons are pumped out, per 3 protons that come in through a enzyme which is known as ATP synthase. Please listen carefully. In oxidative phosphorylation, protons which are sent out will now enter through ATP synthase inside, and this will result into synthesis of ATP by oxidative phosphorylation. So per NADH plus H plus 10 protons, 3 protons equal to 1 ATP. So 10 protons is equal to 3 ATP. 10 by 3. So that will come to 3 ATP. So 2 NADH plus H plus are produced in glycolytic pathway. 2-glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase react to give 2 NADH plus H plus. They will result into production of 6 ATP molecules. Have you understood this particular step? You have to answer quickly.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
good.
ma'am.
Pyruvate dehydrogenase, again 2 pyruvates will react, they will produce 2 NADH plus H plus, 1 NADH, 3 ATP, 2 NADH, 2 into 3, 6 ATP again. So till now, these numbers of ATPs are produced, 6 plus 6 plus 2. TCA cycle we have seen produces 6 NADH plus H plus 1, 3 per round. 2 acetyl coenzyme may enter. So 6 in 2 rounds. So 6 NADH plus H plus 6 into 3, that is 18 ATP due to NADH plus H plus that is produced in TCA cycle. 2 FADH2 are produced. FADH2 cannot donate electrons to complex 1 in oxidative phosphorylation. Instead, it donates electrons to complex 2, that is the succinate dehydrogenase itself. Succinate dehydrogenase will then donate electrons to coenzyme Q. You will see details of these things later on in the, but you have to just remember that when FADH2 acts as donor, less protons are pumped out. So instead of 10 protons, now only 6 protons are pumped out. Because less number of protons are pumped out, so 6 divided by 3, so nearly 2 ATP will be synthesized. So 2 into 2 will be 4, 2 FADH2, because succinate dehydrogenase will accept the hydrogen twice in 2 rounds of TCA, and by substrate level phosphorylation, GTP is synthesized. GTP can be easily converted to ATP. So we'll take into account these 2 ATPs also. If you add these, total of 38 ATP molecules can be synthesized per molecule of glucose oxidized in aerobic respiration. Have you understood this? So
Yes,
we
yes,
have,
ma'am.
yes, we have taken into account how many ATPs will be produced in aerobic microorganism per glucose molecule oxidized if the microbe uses glycolysis followed by TCA followed by oxidative phosphorylation, and we have assumed that everything is taking place at full efficiency, which is not the case. So maximum number of ATPs that can be synthesized is 38. This is a theoretical value. Many a times microbes, depending on conditions, produce lesser number of ATP molecules depending on availability of different nutrients and other conditions. So with this, we have finished with TCA cycle. The references are Nelson and Cox's Leninger and Garrett and Grisham. This is another biochemistry